Let's jump in. So, first things first, what is keto? We have to talk about where the confusion comes from. I have to define what keto is. People are very confused about keto, and I actually blamed podcasters and influencers, right? I blame them. It's not necessarily their fault. They just don't know what they don't know. So I'm going to keep it basic, just the guidelines of the diet. What is keto, right? So, keto is not paleo. Not paleo, okay? Keto is not paleo. Why? Keto allows dairy. Right off the bat, it's not paleo for that reason. Paleo does not allow any dairy, right? Keto also allows basically any zero carbohydrate sweetener, right? Like these things that people put in coffee or bake with or whatever. It allows basically any zero carbohydrate sugar sweetener, regardless of what ingredients they're derived from. Again, not paleo. For instance, if you have a maltodextrin that is derived from corn, corn is not paleo, thus maltodextrin from corn is not paleo. Correct? Okay, there we go. So, keto is also not anti-inflammatory. So I'm going to put anti-inflam, right? It is not necessarily anti-inflammatory. Now, when I say these things, they're not blanket statements because I have to be fair, right? Keto is not necessarily anti-inflammatory, but it can be. When it's done correctly, it can be. Anything that lowers refined carbohydrate consumption is anti-inflammatory. But the blanket inclusion of all high-fat dairy products can often promote inflammation, especially if not sourced perfectly from just the right animals in just the right way. You could literally eat nothing but sour cream and be keto, right? So let's scratch the anti-inflammation. Keto is not paleo, keto is not anti-inflammatory, not by default, right? So then we have an issue with quality, right? I'm gonna get a new marker here. But we have an issue with quality. Now again, I have to be fair, okay? Because some people do keto right. Some people do focus on food quality. But generally speaking, people come in and they muddy the waters. That's what's happening, right? So many people on keto, we're dealing with an if it fits your macros type situation. If it fits your macros, if it's keto macros, doesn't matter where you get it from, you can eat nothing but feedlot kielbasa all day long, right? That's ridiculous. This is also how you end up with social media posts that get shared by millions of people telling their friends that they're keto, and they're giving them tips like, these are the foods to order at Wendy's to make your Wendy's order keto. These are the foods to order at Burger King to make your Burger King meal keto. These people are so dumb, I can't even wrap my brain around it, okay? I mean, I understand, I'm being mean, but I understand the concept of like, hey, if you have to get fast food, just make it less damaging, mitigate the damage or whatever. I don't buy that shit, man, because why? I would just fast. I would just fast, right? Fasting, intermittent fasting is something that I've been preaching for quite a while now. Basically from the beginning of Clovis, we've talked about intermittent fasting way back when and time-restricted eating, right? So don't try to make terrible, crappy, low-quality food is not keto. Don't try to make it keto, right? So that's the thing, is if you're not monitoring food quality, keto is not necessarily high quality all the time. Again, this is misinformed people muddying the waters. That's a problem, right? So, what is keto really, okay? So let's start with macros. So if we're talking about macros, this is what's really important. This is how you reach a state of deep nutritional ketosis, right? So if we talk about fat, we're looking at daily calories from fat at anywhere to 70 to 90% of daily calories. That's a lot of fat. It is a lot of fat. You're basically treating fat like a supplement, okay? So the thing with fat, if we were to take averages, now again, there's a lot of different experts with a lot of different books, there's a lot of different influencers with blogs and vlogs and every other thing you can think of in YouTube channels. But on average, this number for fat, you're looking at about 78% of calories from fat, right? A lot of fat. That's a lot of fat, okay? So you're looking at about 78%. Now, daily net carbs, so if you look at carbs, you're looking at around 3 on the low end to 5, maybe 7% of carbohydrates, but really you're looking at that 3 to 5% of daily calories from net carbohydrates, okay? Now, it's literally almost zero. I have a problem with this. I don't like the implications of this for the gut microbiome, which thrives on dietary fiber and micronutrients found in leafy green vegetables. I am a huge fan of telling people to eat leafy green vegetables, right? The other issue, the third one, is we're gonna get into protein. Now again, comparatively, if you're wondering, this fat, 78%, I recommend around 60. Net carbs, carbs are always net carbs, right? 3 to 5%, I recommend around 10. Now we're talking protein, right? So protein is anywhere from like 17 to 20% on a ketogenic diet. Now again, just so nobody's confused, we're talking about keto here. This is keto, okay? So we're talking about keto. Protein, 17 to 20%. Why? People worry about something called gluconeogenesis. The body can convert protein into glucose in the system, but it only does it under specific circumstances. It's really not a concern. It's not the concern that people think that it is, okay? And believe it or not, of all of this, this right here, oops, this is the number that really bothers me. This is where I really struggle with keto. And we're going to talk about that a little down the line. We're going to get there. But first things first, let's talk about all this fat, right? Let's talk about all this fat. So, to do this right, you literally need to drink fat, right? As you guys know, you guys have all been shocked by the caloric need that I give you, right? When I tell you you need to eat this many calories or this is your macros, a lot of women are like, I don't know how you expect me to hit those numbers. That's so much food, right? It's more food than you expect. Now picture if you had way more fat added to that. You literally need to drink fat to make this work. So things like bulletproof coffee make up the majority of your diet. You're drinking constant MCT oil, you're supplementing butter, you're cooking things in bacon all day long, etc., etc. Does fat make you fat? No, of course not. That's technically impossible from a biochemistry standpoint unless under certain circumstances mixed with carbohydrates, blah, 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 blah. If you're eating low carb, fat is not going to make you fat, right? I'm a huge fan of fat. It's a superfood. Most of your daily calories on the Clovis protocol come from fat, just not this high. So my question is, I'm a fan of fat. Do I think you should be slurping up as much fat as humanly possible when your goal is to burn stored body fat? Probably not.